I came into the town of Galveston, Texas on my way to songwriter night at the Old Quarter Acoustic Cafe. I always look forward to visiting Galveston, and I think it's just such an interesting area. For one, it's an island, which is pretty cool. It's just south of Houston, and there's a mixture of historical facts and a mixture of odd history that all comes together that makes this place interesting, and I think it still permeates in the architecture and in the people of Galveston today. One of the notable things about this place to me is that the architecture is so interesting, and so I particularly enjoy walking around this city and checking it out. And it is a very walkable city, perhaps one of the most walkable cities in Texas, because you can go pretty far going about and find a lot of booze on the way too, which I'm sure makes for walking around even more fun. And a part of the history of Galveston is a bit dark, maybe evil, you might say. And so to me, it aligns a little bit with the kind of sin of New Orleans. It's got a little bit of that vibe going on, but it also has a mixture of kind of Venice Beach, California vibe. A little bit of like maybe a beach biker sort of vibe there, because this place does have the ocean right there at the Gulf of Mexico. So the footage I'm showing here is of the Strand area of Galveston, where you could really see all of the interesting shops that they have around and the interesting architecture. And I want to talk about the history that is embedded in this place. And we can go back first to the origins of Juneteenth, which you probably heard is regarded as the day that slavery ended. And that happened here in Galveston as federal troops came in to make the slaves aware that they were freed. You can walk around the city and find a giant mural that they have celebrating the Juneteenth history of this city. And Texas is the first state to recognize Juneteenth as a state holiday. And at one point, this was the largest and the richest city in Texas. This was in the late 1800s. It was a big commercial center. It was one of the largest ports in the United States, and there was a lot of immigration happening here. It was second to Ellis Island in terms of immigration. So you can imagine that a lot of interesting cultures are coming together here. There's a lot of vibrant change and growth and excitement. But then the unique history of Galveston comes at us again with the big hurricane that happened in the 1900s. This is still regarded as a record for the U.S.'s deadliest natural disaster. It took out 1 out of every 5 residents who lived there. Clearly, this brought the town down from its high aspirations and all the growth. The folks had to recognize that this is a place where the storms and the hurricanes can come in and cause a lot of damage. And today it is regarded as one of the top 5 places that can be ravaged by hurricanes in the U.S. In addition to the hurricane, Galveston's growth was impacted by the discovery of oil in Houston, which brought up the booming population of Houston to contribute to it surpassing Galveston, along with the port of Houston, which allowed goods to go up there and bypass Galveston. So the Houston port now could compete with the Galveston port. And I've had some folks tell me about the mob history of Galveston, the mob presence here, which contributes to that darkness and the uniqueness of their history. So at one point, this place had a lot of prostitutes here. They had their own red light district, and even though it was illegal, they still allowed it to happen. And the people of the town were okay with those vice businesses, the casinos and the prostitutes, and it was regarded as the Sin City of the Gulf, and it was known as the Free State of Galveston because they had allowed all those activities to happen. And some of that uniqueness, some of that edge, some of that grittiness, I think is still reflected. The long history is reflected in the buildings that you see, and the grittiness is reflected in the people themselves, who are quite unique and interesting and have an edge to them as well. On top of all that, you've got tourists that come in and out of this place often. The cruise ships come in, tourists flock out of the cruise ships and into the city, and then they flock back into the cruise ship. You can find the seagulls going about. You can see that French Quarter kind of architecture. And find those art galleries, the opera house, the stores with the tourist trinkets, the places selling ice cream and selling candy. It all makes for spending a good day walking around and checking out Galveston. And walking around this whole area of the Strand, there's tons of places where you could find music that I walked by. And I could show you them right now, so get ready. There's the Alibi Bar first. Then there's Sharky's Tavern, a popular place with the open mic jam and some good pizza. Then moving up along the Strand, you got Patrick's Bar, which is located right next to Bubba's on the Strand. Playground Patio Bar and Grill features live music. Yaga's Cafe as well, Brewchachos Tacos and Cantina. Then there's 3 Doors Down Bar, Drunken Monkeyz, and Mod Coffeehouse will feature live music there out there on their patio too. But ultimately, we're heading to a very popular and historic listening room called the Old Quarter Acoustic Cafe. This is where Tex Renner hosts a monthly songwriters night, and we got a nice list of talented songwriters coming on tonight at this place. The Old Quarter is the place where Townes Van Zandt recorded a live album when this place was based out of Houston, and it was partly owned by Rex Bell, who you could still find out and about and playing here sometimes as well. And so Townes Van Zandt is a big part of the history of this place. And in fact, people who know him here and who are heavily influenced by him come together on January 1st, which is the day he died, with their annual Townes Van Zandt Wake. So I'm always grateful for a chance to come and check out Galveston and to play for some folks and see some folks playing at the Old Quarter Acoustic Cafe.
But I was driving around the Florida Panhandle, and I used to think that when you're by large bodies of water, things are nice. But that's not the case at the Florida Panhandle. You see, what you got is you got all these houses that are up on stilts. And I imagine if you live in a house up on stilts, every single step that you climb is just a reminder that the ocean is there to engulf you and all of your belongings. So this song is about how if the weather is bad in the past, then the weather is probably also going to be bad in the future too. Oh, when the wind blows in today, it won't blow much stronger than it did yesterday. And when the wind blows in tomorrow, well, you know, that's when you know it ain't going away.
Thanks for checking out my video. I'm posting all about touring around Texas and the live music scene of Texas, so be sure to check out the tons of videos I've got on my channel. I also have a link below of what Galveston looks like during the Mardi Gras time. Hit the subscribe and the bell button to stay tuned to my posts. Let me know in the comments what else I should be checking out, and thank you for your support.